Well, here we are, the fourth Sunday of Advent. It's gone so fast, so fast. A week from today, even less, 6 days from today, Christmas will come in. And it will not be late, as Alvin and the Chipmunks ask the Lord, please, Christmas, don't be late. But some of us could use more time, right? Today we hear in our readings promise and fulfillment. I mean, this is essentially the characteristics of every time we come together to celebrate the liturgy. We hear promise in the Old Testament, fulfillment in the New Testament, but it is really on display on this fourth Sunday of Advent. Promise in the words that the prophet spoke to Ahaz so many centuries ago, and fulfillment in the words of the angel who speaks to Joseph. Who is Ahaz? He's kind of a schnook, a nerd. He's a mediocre king. He is in the line of David, and he sits upon the throne of David 735 BC. He has problems. The kingdom to the north, which is now called Israel, is dealing with the threat from the Assyrians, and that the Assyrians will overthrow that kingdom. And they're paying the Assyrians kind of like protection money to leave them alone, and they're tired of it, and they want the south to join them against the Assyrians. So they approach King Ahaz and they petition him and they say, hey, join with us. I'm sorry, the north is concerned with the Syrians, and Ahaz doesn't want to get involved. They ask him to join him in the fight, but he declines. Ahaz is thinking about asking the Assyrians to help him fend off the north and their allies, the Syrians. Isaiah then goes to Ahaz as he's pondering this, and he says that he has a message from God. Don't do this. The sign will be this, that the maiden will be with child, the virgin will be with child, a son, and his name will be Emmanuel, which means God is with us. So Ahaz, he receives this message, and as I said, he's a mediocre king. There are some accounts that he possibly sacrificed one of his sons to a pagan god, Molech, and he fakes piety when he says, when Isaiah brings him this message, oh no, I won't tempt the Lord. He's already got his plan in place. He's already got his plan in place. And so he fakes this piety to God. Oh, I won't tempt the Lord. No, I won't ask the Lord anything. And Isaiah says, must you weary God? Here's what's going to happen. And this strange prophecy comes forth. Now, is this for his time or for hundreds of years in the future? Well, the promise is partially fulfilled. Ahaz has a wife, Abijah, who is a maiden, and in these days and ages, a maiden and a virgin, and she conceives a son. Not miraculously, but that son is the descendant of Ahaz, and his name is King Hezekiah. And when he takes his throne, he does a lot of good things that Ahaz did not do. He removes the paganism that's all around. He tears down pagan altars, and he stops this human sacrifice. He's good, and he makes good choices. So the promise is partially fulfilled in his own son. But then the promise is fulfilled fully in the son of Mary and the adopted son of Joseph. Mary is betrothed to Joseph, and in our day and age, that might be a little different than what that means for them. That means that they're already married. An engagement process is already passed. Sometimes that engagement happens when you're a kid and your parents or a matchmaker set you up to be married to somebody else in another family. And that process, whatever it was, that engagement process has passed. They're betrothed, which means they have exchanged vows, but they have not come to live under the same roof. So it was about a year after you were betrothed before you came together with your spouse. And so that was to give the husband time to build a house, to prepare a house, to establish himself in business, all the things that he needs to do to support a wife and then the children that would come. So before they came together under one roof, Joseph finds out that she's pregnant. Most likely she told him. And she told him she probably told him that it was under the power of the Holy Spirit. And Joseph, being a righteous man, decides to divorce her quietly. Why? Well, if you were to conceive a child from another man, you would be taken to the edge of the city and stoned to death. And he didn't want this for Mary. We don't know what Joseph was thinking at this point. There's a lot of speculation. Some say maybe he thought there was another man involved. Maybe he doesn't believe Mary when she says that she has conceived under the power of the Holy Spirit, by the power of the Holy Spirit. Or some say, like Thomas Aquinas and others, that there was a reverential fear that he believed her, he believed that the child was conceived by divine intervention, but he felt so unworthy to be the foster father of this child that he decides to divorce her quietly. He didn't feel worthy, perhaps. He then has a dream in which an angel appears to him, and he is told by the angel, "Do not be afraid to take her into your house. It is by the power of the Holy Spirit that she has conceived." And he wakes up and he does what the angel commands. We are prepared to celebrate this reality in just a few days. The Son of God coming to earth through the portal of Mary and through the foster fathership of St. Joseph. This promise is fulfilled in our midst. We are so fortunate to have a God that keeps his promises.